Islam's story begins with its prophet and founder. According to Islamic tradition, the founder of Islam, Muhammad, was born in Mecca in 571. In 610, when he was 40 years old, Muhammad received his first revelation, and he started preaching. While his following and influence increased rapidly, not everyone supported him, and he was eventually forced to leave Mecca. He set up his first community in Yathrib, which later became Medina. His migration from Mecca to Medina is called the Hijra, and it begins Islam's rise in history. Ten years after he was forced out of Mecca, Muhammad came back with an army to conquer the city. Mecca now holds Islam's holiest site, the Kaaba, which is the reason why all Muslims face towards Mecca when praying. After Muhammad's death, his successors, called caliphs, rapidly expanded the empire. Within a couple of decades, virtually all of the Middle East, the Persian Empire, modern-day Iran, and most of the Roman Empire were part of the Arab Islamic Empire. What about Israel-Palestine? It came under Islamic rule in the 7th century and remained so to the end of the 11th century, when Latin Crusaders invaded. Jerusalem was among the 7th century Islamic conquests. The Caliphate built the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount, the most contested piece of real estate on earth. Why is it so contested? In Judaism and Christianity, the rock under the dome is linked to the foundation stone, from which the earth was believed to have been created. It is also believed to be the biblical site of Abraham's test with Isaac. In Muslim belief, the rock is the site where Muhammad journeyed to from Mecca and the place from which he traveled to heaven on his night journey. The Temple Mount is the most prominent point in the old city of Jerusalem. The presence of the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque there reflect the Muslim notion that Islam took over all other faiths as the one true religion. Now to our next hot topic, replacement theology. The concept of the covenant is key to Judaism and the history of the ancient Israelites. The formal agreement between them and God meant that in return for worshiping Him, and Him alone, they were given Canaan, Israel-Palestine. But some Christians and many Muslims believe the Jews were replaced, and the promises were passed to their own religions, while Christians think they are the new chosen ones. Muslim replacement theology involves the idea that Abraham, Moses, and other prophets, including Jesus, are actually prophets of Islam. These ideas are vital to understanding the Middle East conflict. Back to our story. Near the end of the 11th century, Europeans launched the first of many Christian crusades to take back Israel-Palestine, the Holy Land, from the Muslims. In 1099, their campaign was successful. In the mid-12th century, the Christian kingdom encompassed modern-day Israel and southern Lebanon. Both Jews and Muslims were massacred by the Crusaders during the conquest. The remaining Jewish population from the Roman era was depleted even further. The Latin Church held on to control of Israel-Palestine for nearly a century, from 1099 to 1187, but trouble lurked. The Mamluk dynasty, Muslims from a variety of ethnic backgrounds, led by Saladin, recaptured almost the entire land, including Jerusalem. When they conquered the Crusader city of Akko in 1291, that pretty much ended the Second Latin Kingdom and Christian rule in Israel-Palestine. For the next 300 years, Mamluks ruled over Israel-Palestine. But again, a power struggle appeared, and the beginning of the 16th century brought another conquest of Israel-Palestine. The Mamluks' power was stripped when the Ottoman Empire, the last great Islamic empire, conquered the Levant and took over. And there the Ottoman Turks ruled until World War I, when they were defeated by the Allied powers. After the war, the Arabs were given the Ottomans' former territories in the Middle East, which we now call Saudi Arabia, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq. At the same time, the Allied powers also gave the political rights in Israel-Palestine to the Jewish people. And today, 100 years later, It is these two groups, the Arab and the Jewish people, that are in conflict over Israel-Palestine.